Welcome everyone. Today in this video, we'll explore why a living and breathing account plan is crucial and critical for customer success teams. So whether you're working with a sales team, product, or even your leadership team, having this living document that evolves with the customer ensures alignment and growth. So by the end of this video, you have a solid understanding of how to build and maintain an effective account plan. So, what does an account plan matter? What is it? Well, without a solid account plan, teams tend to operate in silos, which risks customer dissatisfaction and churn. And a well maintained plan enables teams to be proactive rather than reactive. And not only for us, the CSM team, but also extending this to cross functional teams. So let's take a step back and address what exactly is an account plan. Well, an account plan is a structured document that outlines key customer details, such as their goals, risks. It can outline stakeholders and engagement strategies as well. It acts as a single point of truth across different departments to drive customer success and retention. So, an effective account plan, I should clarify, isn't just a document. We can break it down into four key specific areas. One, it's a proactive risk mitigation tool. One of the biggest challenges in customer success is preventing churn before it actually happens. So, a well maintained account plan helps teams track this declining engagement or spot red flags and address issues early. It also helps with your growth planning. Some of you may be responsible for expansion. So, an account plan isn't just about retention. You may also incorporate those expansion strategies. So, a dynamic plan helps identify those cross sell and upsell opportunities, aligning the different teams as well on the revenue potential. I'd also highlight that it's a great way to outline stakeholder management because your customers evolve. Some of this also may have happened to you where champions leave or leadership changes and or it could happen that a new decision maker emerges. So a shared account plan ensures teams always know and have an updated map of key stakeholders. And last but not least, it's a data-driven success. So decisions shouldn't be based on assumptions. It should be based on data. So a dynamic account plan integrates these historical trends, product usage, and customer feedback to guide these strategic actions. All right. So without further ado, let's actually review a template together that I've used that has worked for me. Again, this is not the magic must all be all template. It's for you to adapt for your organization. But let's begin with some basics and fundamentals. Let's start from the very top here. We've got the client company name, and over here, you've also got when is the last date that you've updated this account plan. Not only does it help keep you accountable, but also provides confidence to whoever is reviewing your account plan that it has the most updated and active information. Remember, we've talked about making sure that your account plan isn't static, it's dynamic. You are proactively updating your plan. We've also got the team section. So, who's part of this team, both internally and externally, meaning the client? We've got the AE, that account executive, who is the sales rep that brought this deal across the finish line. As well, who is their leader, who helped them with this deal. Insert your name here and your leader that's going to help you and help you set yourself up for success with this client in your account portfolio, with your book of business? So who are you having one-on-ones with in your weekly meetings? You may also want to consider including other internal stakeholders. In my case, as a CSM, I've included uh, individuals from product, perhaps, that have invited to that customer call, that perhaps we've got a specific implementation or product feature that we've aligned with the customer on. There's been cases where there has been a marketing partnership between the company that I was at and the client. So it could be a marketing stakeholder that is also involved, that I want to make sure that I highlight here. So who internally is involved in the success of this client directly? Next, we've got the decision makers. So this is decision makers from the client's end. So who are those decision makers? Who are those champions? Who are your contacts? Next, we have key highlights in your account plan. First up, document the client's goals and objectives. I would encourage you to also include their criteria for success. This not only helps track progress at key milestones, but also fosters meaningful conversation during your client calls. And if you don't have this information, ask. Be curious. We've also got here that high level historical spend, the high level historical revenue, and potential revenue. So this is where you can document that expansion opportunities that you've got in your back pocket and that you have also identified. In this section, identify the key risks, blockers, and challenges that could impact the client's ability to achieve their goals. Mitigating these obstacles isn't just the responsibility of the CSM, it's a collective effort across your organization. If your company can't help the clients meet their success criteria, they may churn, and nobody wants that. That's why it's very important just to clearly state what are those possible risks and challenges that the client is experiencing. And you'll see quickly here, we've got a follow-up with what is the support required? What is the asks that you need from your other departments and your leadership to mitigate those obstacles, to remove those blockers? You've also got a space here for any additional information. So this is an open space. Here, you may want to document and highlight perhaps a client's product feature request or a support ticket that you want to escalate, or let's say that client's contract renewal date. This space is completely open to include important information tied to that client and your strategic plan. Talking about that strategic plan, let's go into more detail of your strategic action plan. These action items should highlight right here those key activities and tasks necessary to achieve the goals of this account plan. Outline what are those next steps. Who are the owners responsible for ensuring that these action items gets completed? This can also be specific individuals on the client's end. Remember, this is a collaborative strategic action plan between you and the customer. This is a partnership. So what I've done in my past is, and the top, I separate these out in two items. Within the cell, I include at the top, perhaps on the client's end, the name of that individual, of the owner of this action plan. And then the second line, the owner of the internal individual at my company in supporting me, or you could just be myself, my name in there, but who internally, who are those owners to help those action items get completed. Really important to remember is to include that due date.
Give yourself and the client those agreed upon milestones and due dates. Give a quick snapshot of the status of that action item. Is it in progress? Is it stuck? Is it not started? When it's complete, oh, it feels so good to almost, do that physical check mark on a spreadsheet and updating that status. And as well, you'll see here once more blockers individually, it could be none as well, fingers crossed. But if there are, indicate what are those blockers so you don't lose momentum on those key action items that you've laid out. I will also mention that depending on where you work, this may be referred to as a success plan. Now, I wouldn't call this an account plan when sharing it with the client, especially if your internal teams are adding comments or notes that you wouldn't necessarily want them to see. However, you can certainly create a client-facing version by disabling commenting and editing permissions for internal teams. Additionally, I would customize certain headings. So, for example, instead of decision makers here, you might choose a more client-friendly term. I would also consider moving the historical spend section, or at most, simply include a current contract value. And again, this is all depending on who I'm sharing, all dependent on who I'm sharing this with on the client side. But you can see how quickly this can become adaptable. This is very flexible and an adaptable tool. In my experience as a CSM, I typically maintain two versions. One, an internal version used for discussions with my internal teams and leadership, allowing for an open commenting and internal notes right in the document. And two, a client-facing version, a separate copy shared with the client where commenting is restricted to them only. And during client meetings, I update it live based on their feedback, ensuring that we both walk away with an up-to-date plan. And this two version approach keeps, those internal discussions private while also fostering a collaborative approach with the client in a very structured and transparent way. Now, it's also going to be dependent on how your client likes to work, and you can ask them. If I've had clients that I've shared the client-facing version directly from Google Drive. I've used this spreadsheet. But I've also had other clients where they prefer it in a presentation format. And again, depending who I'm sharing it with, I may simply, make it a presentation version of this account plan, or if it's client facing, I would call it a success plan.
Okay, so now it's your turn. I zoomed in my screen so you can see all the details of the template, but not to worry. I also linked that template below so you can get access to the exact spreadsheet to get started right away with your clients. But come back, let me know how you adapted it and changed it and made it work for organization. Also, what didn't work. We'd love to learn from you as well. So come back to the channel. Thanks, everyone.